Hi, I'm Bronte and welcome to Bronte's Book Reviews. Hi everybody, it's Bronte and today I'm going to be reviewing Mockingjay, the final book in the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. Before I start going into the review of the Mockingjay book, I just wanted to give you a little bit of my thoughts and opinions on the trilogy as a whole. I really enjoyed reading the trilogy, but I preferred the first book over the second and then the second book over the third. I feel that Suzanne Collins perhaps lost a little bit of the momentum of her writing as the book went on. However, I still really liked all of the books. I still think they're definitely worth the read. If I was going to give them marks out of 10, The Hunger Games would definitely get a 10 out of 10. That book was just amazing. I read it so fast, I thought it was excellent. Catching Fire would get a 9, and I think The Mockingjay would get an 8. So all still good books, although book 3 not as good as book 2, and book 2 and 3 not as good as book 1. Anyway, let's move on to Mockingjay and the review of this book. At the end of Catching Fire, we saw Katniss getting airlifted out of the arena of the 75th Hunger Games. The rebels had planned to capture her and get her out, and with Joanna ripping out a tracker so that the Capitol can't track her anymore, and with the help of Finnick, she was airlifted out by the rebels. And when she comes out, she finds out that District 12 has been completely obliterated. The Capitol, I suppose as a form of punishment to the people of District 12, specifically to Katniss and to Peter, they've basically wiped it out. Gale tells Katniss that luckily he managed to get her family out, so Katniss's mum and Prim are safe, as are Gale's family, but so many people didn't make it. The people who did make it are taking refuge in District 13, the district that was previously thought to be obliterated but actually has been living underground for many, many years. In fact, since it was demolished originally by the Capitol 75 years previously. And President Coin is the president of District 13, and she's been leading the people getting ready for a rebellion against the Capitol so they can take over Panem. So Katniss's family have been living in District 13, as have Gale's, but unfortunately Peter's family haven't made it out. What's even more tragic is we learned that although Katniss was rescued from the Hunger Games, they didn't manage to secure Peter, and in fact Peter, along with Joanna and Enoboria, were actually kidnapped and captured by the Capitol, and they're being held there. Katniss is devastated to think that Peter is in the hands of President Snow and the Capitol, and she's certain that he's bound to have been tortured and killed. However, not long after, there is a televised show on by the Capitol, and Caesar Flickerman is doing an interview with Peter, who is talking about Katniss, and he basically tells everybody that he thinks Katniss didn't realise what was happening and that she's just been a pawn in the games of President Coin and the rest of District 13. And he calls for a ceasefire. He wants everybody to lay down their weapons and to stop fighting. He's still under the pretence that him and Katniss are completely and utterly in love with each other. They were going to get married, they were going to have a baby together, and he's devastated. Or so we think. However, this doesn't have the effect on Katniss that I think President Snow hoped it would, and instead of making her want to give up and walk away from the rebellion, it actually fuels her fire. She wants to become the Mockingjay, the face and the symbol of the rebellion. She wants to make President Snow pay for everything that he has done to her and her family and everybody else. And so she agrees with President Coin that she's going to be the Mockingjay, and she's going to film lots of propaganda videos and be the face of the rebellion to help get all the districts together, united as one against the Capitol. So Katniss goes off and does some filming, but before she does, she tells President Snow that she's only going to be the Mockingjay if President Snow agrees that the tributes that have been captured by the Capitol are allowed to have immunity, obviously including Peter. And President Coin reluctantly agrees. So off Katniss goes, and she's filming her propaganda videos, and Gale's gone with her and Haymitch has gone with her, and she's got her own team of recorders, designers going with her to make these videos fantastic so they can air them out against the whole of Panem. And whilst they're recording in District 8, there's been bombs and there's been devastation, and they're visiting the hospital where the people who are recovering, who have been part of this, where they've had bombs dropped on their houses and they've been injured, when all of a sudden planes go overhead, and it's planes that belong to the capital, and they start firebombing the hospital. The hospital is obviously their intended target. They want to kill everybody. They don't care if they're injured. They want everybody to die. This further fuels Katniss's fire, and her next propaganda video is really, really strong and potent. What President Snow doesn't realise is by doing this, he's just making things worse for himself, because more of the districts are siding with District 13 against the capital. They're siding with Katniss, and it's surging the rebellion. Now, after this, at one point, Katniss and Gale go on a mission, and they're not really allowed to do anything, and it's very frustrating for them. And they're kind of losing, I suppose, their momentum really within this. So it's decided that the best thing to do is that District 13 is going to send a team of people, and they're going to go into the capital, and they're going to go and rescue the tributes, because I think this is going to be the best way to get the best out of Katniss and to hit President Snow where it hurts, because if he doesn't have Peter, he doesn't have that hanging over Katniss's head anymore. So a team go out to the capital, and they manage to rescue Peter and Joanna and the other tributes. When Katniss sees Peter, she's absolutely relieved, and she goes over to him to give him a big hug, and he tries to strangle her, he tries to kill her. It turns out that it wasn't just physical abuse that Peter has suffered at the hands of President Snow and the capital, but also mental abuse as well. They've been filling him with venom from Jackie Jackers and turning him against Katniss, telling him really bad things and making him believe that she's a mutt, that she's genetically designed and she's not a real person, and that all along she's been trying to kill him and that she's been trying to hurt him. So he absolutely hates her now, and it's taken a long, long time for people to try and coax him back into his normal way, into believing that Katniss is actually a friend and not a foe, and that she hasn't tried to kill him. And it's difficult for Katniss. She doesn't want to see Peter like this, and so she stops going to see him. Not long afterwards, though, it is decided that most of the districts have now been rescued, and a team are going off to the final fight at the capital. And Katniss is part of this team, as is Gale and as is Peter. Now, I'm not going to go into any more detail at this point, because I don't want to spoil the plot anymore. I don't want to tell you the ending of the book, although I have to say the ending is absolutely fantastic. There are twists and turns all the way through. I'm not going to tell you any more than that. I'm not going to spoil it. But you've got to carry on reading. You've got to read this book. You've got to read it from start to finish. As always, I mention in my reviews that despite the fact that there are film versions, I mean, they've even made 2 Mockingjay films, because the book has so much in there, it's so powerful. They turned it into 2 films instead of 1. And as I always say, do watch the films. The films are absolutely fantastic. And, you know, the actors and actresses are brilliant. However, don't stop you from reading the book. You've got to read the book. The book is so much better than the films. The films can never compete with the book, because you can never capture what you can in a book on film. So please do go away and read the book. Well, that's come to the end of my review of not only the Mockingjay but of the Hunger Games trilogy. I hope you've enjoyed my reviews as much as I've enjoyed recording them. And I've got some more books coming soon on my channel, so please keep your eyes peeled and don't forget to keep watching. Thanks everybody. Bye. Thank you for watching Bronte's book reviews. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.